As gamers, we all love playing video games, but when it comes to competitive titles, things often go beyond just having fun. Whether it's rank, MMR or medals, climbing the ladder usually means grinding, improving your mechanics and testing your limits. But here's the thing, performance in competitive games isn't only about raw skill. Emotions like tilt, frustration or confidence play a huge role too. The two are deeply connected. A player with strong skills can still underperform if emotions take over, while someone with solid mental control can sometimes push above their weight. In this video, we're going to break down the relationship between skill and emotion, how much each affects the other, and which one really matters if you want to grind ranks or just better understand what drives competitive success. First of all, let me say this. I'm not a psychologist, and I'm not an expert in how the human brain works. I'm just a gamer, but I've been playing video games for over 25 years, and everything I'm about to share comes from that experience. I started gaming when I was around 5 years old, and now I'm 31. That's more than 2 decades filled with all kind of games, from solo single-player adventures to some of the most competitive titles out there. You name them, I played them. For me, the real story began when I was about 16. It was summer break and I downloaded Dota 2 from Steam. Before that, I had played CSGO, but never seriously, just for fun. Dota, however, was the first time I really dove into a competitive game. At first it was overwhelming. It took me almost 500 games just to understand the heroes, the mechanics and what was actually happening. But once the rank system was introduced, everything changed. That was when I decided I wanted to get better. Winning meant climbing and every loss meant failing, so naturally I started grinding. I would play 10 to 12 hours a day, every weekend, every holiday, just non-stop. First with my brother, then with friends. But here's the thing, I had no real mindset or structure back then. I didn't watch guides, I didn't check YouTube builds. Honestly, back then YouTube wasn't filled with tutorials like it is today. I just played. At first it was all about emotion. I loved the game, but soon I realized something important. Whenever I got frustrated, I played worse. Whenever I tilted, I lost more games. That was the first time I truly felt how much emotions can affect the skill. Fast forward, after years of playing different competitive games, quitting for a while and then recently coming back to Dota again, I felt the same thing. The grind starts almost unintentionally, but the emotions kick in the same way they did years ago. So before we get deeper into skills, let's talk about emotions first. Emotions have a direct impact on your focus, decision making, reaction speed and overall skill expression in games. Sometimes they act as a boost like adrenaline or motivation, but other times they become a barrier, things like tilt, fear or even overconfidence. Let's break this down one by one so we can understand how they affect gameplay. Tilt happens when frustration overrides rational decision making. Maybe you had a bad round, maybe a toxic teammate tilted you and suddenly you're making poor choices. Tilt usually leads to impatience, risky plays, tunnel vision and revenge chasing. You start focusing too much on providing a point instead of playing smart. On top of that, frustration often leads to mechanical inconsistency. Your hands just don't perform as cleanly as they should. For example, in League of Legends, one bad death can cause a player to force fights instead of farming, and in a game like Dota or LoL, one death can snowball into a lost match. The next emotion that affects your gameplay is anxiety and fear. Nerves kick in during pre-match moments or high-stakes situations. This can cause slower reactions, hesitations, shaky aim in shooters, and overthinking. Sometimes you freeze or second-guess yourself. This is what's often called choking under pressure, and it's happened even to pro players. That's why eSport teams have coaches, psychologists, and a staff to help their players deal with these emotions. On the flip side, emotions can also boost performance. Adrenaline can push to react faster, confidence can help you stay calm under pressure, but the danger here is overconfidence, playing too aggressively because you feel untouchable, which often leads to throwing a game. From my own experience, emotion in game don't just come from the game itself. Sometimes people, myself included, use competitive games as an escape from real-life problems. If you're stressed, anxious, or avoiding responsibilities, those emotions will follow you into a game. You might feel strong in game, but in reality it's your emotions driving you, not your pure skill. So, how do you improve your emotional state for better performance? If you've got homework, projects, or even gym sessions you're avoiding, they create background stress. That stress carries into your matches and suddenly you're on autopilot instead of playing with focus. Don't treat every loss as a disaster. Losing is fine. What matters is improvement. Watch your replays, figure out mistakes, and focus on progress, not your win rates. Remember, it's just a game. Unless you're actively pursuing a pro career, don't let the grind consume you. Don't play just to flex on friends or prove something. Play with a positive mindset. Keep your brain engaged and stay in control of your emotions. This isn't the only way to deal with emotions, but from my 25 plus year of gaming, this is what I've learned. Emotions matter in competitive games just as much as skills, sometimes even more. Now, on the other hand, we've got skills. Skills is something you develop whether you're playing intentionally or unintentionally. As long as you're doing an activity, whether it's a competitive game or even something in real life, you're gaining experience. But in gaming, a skill breaks down into a few key areas. Mechanical skill. This is your executions, your raw aim, movements, combos, and actions per minute. Think about it. In Dota, the amount of clicks per game is insane, and how accurate you are with those clicks is part of your mechanical skill. In CSGO or Valorant, flick shots are pure mechanical skill. In fighting games, it's pulling off combos. In StarCraft or Dota, it's microcontrol. All of these depends on repetition and muscle memory. The more you repeat an action, the more automatic it becomes. Then on the other hand, we've got game sense and awareness. This is a bit different. Game sense can't just be learned on autopilot. You actually have to be aware of what's happening around you. Awareness means stepping out of that autopilot state and intentionally thinking about positioning, map control, objectives, enemy habits, and timing. This is where decision making, adaptability, and creativity come into play. On top of that, you've got consistency, communication, and teamwork. These are also skills. Being able to make the right call under pressure, adapting mid-game, or coordinating with teammates. All of this matters as much as the raw mechanics. So here's the takeaway. Emotions and skills are connected. Your emotions directly affect your ability to use your skills, and your skills can't shine if your emotions aren't under control. Emotions influence focus, reactions, and consistency, while skills are built through repetition, awareness, and intentional practice. If you really want to climb ranks or just improve at competitive games, you need to work on both your emotional control and your skills. Ignore one and the other suffers. This is my first time making a guide like this, comparing two sides of gaming like a skill versus emotions or something like that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. This will help a lot. Much love. Thanks for watching. See you guys on the next one. And as always, peace out.